Welcome back. I'm Adrian Harewood, coming to you from the Herongate community in South Ottawa. We're a stone's throw away from Walkley Road, and residents in this community, many of whom are immigrants and low-income earners, are on edge. And that's because they were recently told by their landlord, Timber Creek Communities, that they are going to be evicted very soon. Timber Creek says that the townhomes behind me are in such poor condition that they can't be repaired and they're too costly to maintain. But that has real consequences for the people who live here. Many of them are concerned that they won't be able to find similar housing at an affordable rate. And so they're also worried about the fact that they're going to lose their community. This is a tightly knit community. People know each other. People have friends who live beside them. And so they're worried about losing that as well. And so they have until September to leave. Now, earlier today, I spoke with a city councillor for Ward 18, this ward, Alta Vista, Jean Cloutier. And we spoke at City Hall, and I asked him about, what his take is about the situation here in the Herongate community. Here's our conversation. And joining me now is the councillor for Ward 18, Alta Vista, Jean Cloutier. Councillor Cloutier, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Adrian. It's good to be with you.
Councillor Cloutier, when were you first informed that Timber Creek Communities would be demolishing 150 units in the Herongate community and evicting hundreds of people?
I was informed of that on April 18th.
And what was your reaction?
My reaction was, we are in the midst of a secondary planning process for the Herongate community, and we have engaged with the community surrounding and within Herongate, and I thought that timing was unfortunate, to say the least.
Unfortunate meaning irresponsible?
Unfortunate in terms of we are engaging with the community. We want the community to participate in what the future of Herongate will be, and it's a long-term plan. And this makes it difficult for residents to participate in the process.
So were you blindsided by this?
Was I blindsided by this? What I was upset at the hardship that this was going to cause the community, because when you displace 105 families, it's very difficult, and we've seen this in the past. And while all those families that were displaced in the past found new accommodations, appropriate accommodations, it is always difficult for residents.
Do you think the decision is warranted? Do you think it can be justified?
What Timber Creek has said is that these units are no longer economically viable.
Do you believe them?
That's what they have said.
What do you think, though?
I've spoken with residents, and there are many of those units that need a lot of maintenance. And Timber Creek has said that they cannot continue to maintain these residents in a safe way for residents to live in.
But you're not being clear as to what your view is, as to whether you think that this is warranted.
But my focus is to help the residents find accommodations if they are faced with an eviction notice that is dated for September 30th, to help those residents find new accommodations that's appropriate in a location they want, that's appropriate for their families before September 30th. Timber Creek has issued these notices under provincial law. It is part of the Residential Tenancies Act, and there is not really a city role in the eviction process. But I, as the councillor for the resident, have knocked on all of those doors, have spoken with all the residents who answered those doors, and have offered my help to make sure that they get the services they need in the language that they understand, in a manner they understand, respectfully and thoroughly.
No one is saying that Timber Creek is contravening the provincial regulations, because of course they have given residents 3 months notice. They are going to be providing them with compensation, helping them with relocation. But are they really giving people enough time? Do people have enough time to make the kinds of massive changes to their lives that are going to be required the next couple of months?
The timeline is dictated by provincial law. Notwithstanding that, what we learned last time when there were other lease terminations in the area was that residents, the time of year where this happens is very important. Last time it happened in the winter and during the school year. If this has to happen, it is preferable for it to happen outside of the school year. Notwithstanding that, it is still very disruptive and very difficult for residents.
We also know that it's very disruptive because this is a community predominantly of new Canadians. This is a community which has some cohesion in that people have a lot of community supports in this neighborhood, and they could be displaced, they could be dislocated to all different various parts of the city. What kind of impact do you think this is going to have on the residents?
There's a Nepalese community there, there is a Bhutanese community, a Somali community, and as part of the Herongate Steering Committee, we have engaged with all of those communities in the past 3 years, engaging with them and creating events in the community.
Are you confident that they'll be able to find affordable housing that will meet the needs of their families?
The overall affordable housing issue in Ottawa is a very difficult one. Ottawa is a hot market and prices are going up. Ottawa Community Housing is the arm of the municipal government that provides affordable housing. That being said, as part of the secondary plan that we are wanting to put in place for Timber Creek for the Herongate area, it is important that we have affordable housing within that area that will be accessible to all persons.
Has the city failed these residents?
I, as councillor, have been present in the community, and I've knocked on all of those doors since they issued this lease termination notice. Again, the city's role in this is very limited. The provincial government has a role to play in terms of the timeline and the compensation that is owed to these residents.
But I want to press this. Has the city done everything it can to protect these residents?
As part of the legal environment, the process that we have, the laws and the bylaws that are available to us, we have applied those, and we will continue to do so. I, as the city councillor for that area, and these are residents and these are people that live in my ward that I've been engaging with for 4 years, and before that, I will do everything I can to continue to assist them so that they find appropriate housing of their that fulfills their needs.
Councillor Cloutier, thanks so much for joining us.
You're welcome, Adrian.
Thank you. And that was my conversation with the councillor for this ward, Jean Cloutier. And Lucy, the truth is that as a lot of people are going to be enjoying their summer holidays, perhaps at cottages, attending various camps, the folks who live in this community are going to be scrambling to find housing in time for September.
Yeah, it has to be an incredibly stressful situation for that whole community when you are trying to relocate, when your neighbors are also trying to relocate, when housing is such a big issue. Adrian, this won't be the last time we do this story, no question. Thanks for this.
Oh, thank you.
Meanwhile, Ottawa police